I'm Lise Colucci, and I am one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm sorry I wasn't here the past few days. I have had stuff going on in the house, and there was no quiet time. So here we are today. Hi, guys. Let's see. Today we're going to talk about the emotional roller coaster of healing. And before we get started, if you need any help with anything regarding narcissistic abuse, go over to queenbeing.com and check it out. Info over there, as well as links to peer support groups and to coaching if it's needed. There's also links in the main description of every video, just right down there in the main part of links for coaching or group coaching if you need it. We've got a couple of groups going on starting in February. One is the group coaching for basically your transformation, working on yourself, working on your stuff, working on moving forward in your life and moving past narcissistic abuse and toward thriving in your life. The other one is trauma bond specific group. So if anyone is needing that, that is available. Again, I haven't done that one for a while. So that'll be starting up next week. The information is, well, you can email me for information, or it's all down below in the main descriptions of the groups. My email is coachlisec@gmail.com, coachlisec@gmail.com. All right, guys. And if you want texting notification of my going live, text me at 33222 and put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, and hit send. And I will text you about 10 minutes before being here. I think that's it for that stuff. If you've not hit subscribe, do so. Hit the thumbs up, and let's get started talking about emotional roller coaster today. Hey, Jack and Shelly and Nicole and Vicky and Frankendoll and Karina. How are you guys? Okay, so emotional roller coaster. We've all been there, or we're on it right now, right? The emotional roller coaster. So when I was talking about this topic, someone brought it up to me. And the first thing what they said was, I hate it. I hate it. I hate being on it. I hate this emotional roller coaster. Okay. Yeah, I think we can all agree there, right? Hey, Bonnie. So narcissistic abuse recovery, any toxic relationship recovery where you have two things going on. You have the grief. Hi, Phoenix. You have the grief and the loss of the person who is the narcissist or the toxic person in your life. When there's a discard or when you leave, there is, of course, the grief of losing that person. It makes no sense to people who haven't lived through this, why we would grieve someone who's toxic, but you do, right? You grieve the loss. Part of that grief is the acceptance and the really understanding what happened, realizing that you're trauma bonded and realizing that you are have been in something very toxic, and also to then be able to accept yourself. So there's a whole lot of grief in the beginning. A second wave of grief can come on for people when they realize that they are grieving again and they don't understand. I felt like the trauma bonds were gone, and then one little trigger throws me right back, or the cognitive dissonance continues, and they're grieving the loss of the relationship itself, because to them, the relationship is a different thing, right? The relationship that you think you have with someone, you think is real. It is real. It's real to you. It's real in the moment, and it's real to you as a person, because you're the one working on this relationship and working toward trying to have a healthier relationship and not have all this toxic stuff going on. And you love this person, you love the relationship, that is a separate thing from grieving from the acceptance and the realization that the person is toxic. So there's like two kinds of griefs. There's two kinds of letting go that have to happen, because then you grieve something that it was not as you perceived it. So again, first the person's unmasked, then the relationship itself is unmasked, so to speak. It's real to you. Your role in it was real. Your participation was real, and your feelings were real. But the relationship itself was built on the lies that the narcissist put in place, right? And you realize that this wasn't a relationship. This was a very one-sided transactional thing that happened. So there's a whole nother grief that comes along with that. And there's other griefs as well that come through the process of healing. So another thing that can happen is you can be going along fine, you think you're doing better, and then something triggers you and it throws you back to something and you can't figure it out, and you realize it's something that happened to you as a kid. So this opens you up to your old pains because the narcissistic abuse is playing on those vulnerabilities the whole time, right? And so there's that too. So we go and we grieve things from our childhoods through this healing, through this discovery of everything that's happening, through the understanding and the awareness. That's a lot of stuff, right? That's a lot of up and down, all over the place, squiggly line, not a straight line healing. It's overwhelming. I think Robin just typed that. It's overwhelming. Yes. Emotional roller coaster drama train. The drama train. All aboard? All right. The relationship is unmasked, especially when you go no contact. The narcissist goes berserk. They can't control you anymore. Right. But the relationship itself, a narcissist aside, your part in that relationship becomes confusing because you think, wait, was I even in a relationship? What was I doing? Was it real? Was any of it real? And so the relationship itself can be a whole nother grief besides the unmasking of the narcissist and besides the, like, just separate. When you're in that stage of grief, when you're in that kind of grief or that kind of healing, you are discovering self. It no longer is about the narcissist. It's about you. It's about your participation in something. It's about your belief of what you felt in the relationship and how that gets all confusing. And you have all this new cognitive dissonance come in and all this new confusion because of it. All right. Thriver, hello. My worst grief was realizing me and my girls were never loved by the narcissist. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It's that. It's you were never loved, but you put in everything. You've put your whole life into it. Your daughters put their life into it, right? And so, of course, there's grief there. A lot of realizations are extremely shocking to the system, super shocking to the system. And it is very triggering and it's very emotional. And the emotions can feel out of proportion for what you think it should be. Like you can maybe just spot the narcissist's vehicle or spot the narcissist's just something that triggers it. That's like a little thing where down the line, when you're more and more healed, that really won't trigger you as much, right? It might for a while, but maybe it won't later. But for now, it's like throws you right back into the whole confusing mess of it, as if it was just a discard. So triggers can cause it. Just the nature of healing can cause it. Positive things can cause it. Having positive people in your life is a good thing. And sometimes we have to feel these things and grieve them all the way through in order to heal it. Okay. I unblocked my ex. He was acting sweet. Come to find out, he just wanted to see if I held on to his stuff. Next. There you go. It's always sweet for a reason. Hi, Duchess and Nicole. In Phoenix, I said hello. And Jack, what are we saying? It's like slow release, long-term breakdown, or it's that we can only take so much at once. And layers and layers and layers is how this healing often works most of the time. Most people don't just have one thing and then they're better in a month. Okay, that's why we have all these videos and all this help and so many people in support groups for this. It isn't easy. And it isn't simple. I used to feel like 5,000 piece puzzle at the mercy of an industrial leaf blower. Oh, that's a good visual. It's a bad visual, but it's a good visual, right? All right. So what do we do with this emotional roller coaster when we're on it? I think when we are in the middle of it, when we're on, I don't even know what part of the roller coaster to call it. They're heading up the scary hill or going down it. I don't even know. But when we're in a part where it just feels like we are out of control and losing our ability to maintain our emotional grounding and whatnot. Hi, Katie. When we're there, a lot of times we don't even know what we're feeling. What we're thrown into is the cognitive dissonance again. I miss him. I miss her. I don't want them, but I want to talk to them. I hope they're doing bad because I want them to need me. I don't care about them at all. Why do I keep thinking about them? Sometimes there's the anger part of it. Like, it can be any stage of grief that can come up right through this. So you can be angry, you could be in denial, you could be like, anything can be coming up, and it's hard to recognize what those emotions are, what the real emotion is. What you're really grieving is the loss, and loss takes time, and it has, you have to move through it. So what I would suggest is finding where it is in your body when you are having any trigger or any when you feel like you're having all these really great days and suddenly you're having a bad day, a really bad day. You're not sleeping. You're having panic attacks. You're crying all day. Whatever it is, you feel like you're at square one again. You're on the roller coaster and you don't know how to get off. Where in your body are you feeling it? I think that jumping to naming the emotion might lead us often into the cognitive dissonance. I miss them. We think that's the emotion. Is that really the emotion, or is that what our trauma-bonded brains are telling us to think? Sometimes you'll find the real emotion is something else. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I feel sorrow, whatever it is, right? And sometimes it's hard to get to that. So where is it in your body? What part of your body is reacting to it? Are you shaking? Is your stomach hurting? Are you anxious in your belly? Are you, where are you feeling it? And then looking for tensions in your body. Where's your body holding the tensions of this reaction? Are you wringing your hands? Are you like, I crunch my toes up. I don't know why I do that. Happy or sad, my toes have this immediate need to react to life. So relax them. Are your shoulders up by your ears? Are you, like, we all have something where we are reacting in our body, and can you release that tension, so that you are allowing your body to feel what it needs to feel without adding the added tension that's storing the locked emotions in place. I feel like the tensions are like any block. They're holding us in place and keeping us believing in this state we're in. Remember that when you're in this when you're on this emotional roller coaster of any kind, when you're on an emotional roller coaster of any kind, that emotions they're not permanent. It is the hardest thing to remember when you're in it, that they're not permanent. They're going to change. Just like you went from having a good day to now having a bad one, you will go again to having a good one. Our lives are ebb and flow of emotions, right? Emotions are, they're passing things in our lives. They're not a permanent state, hopefully. Usually not. They're not a permanent state. If they are, then maybe, therapy might be necessary at that point. So what are we saying here? I'm almost embarrassed to say that there are still times I go through that. I think it's normal. Yeah. Frank Adele is saying, I still find myself walking around with my mouth open in shock and shaking my head in disbelief. It's so mind-boggling someone could do these things that they do. 10 steps forward, 5 steps back for me continually. So when we are okay, here's another thing with the emotional roller coaster. We have to feel what we need to feel in this, right? In order to grieve it, in order to move through it. That doesn't mean that we have to stay stuck in the patterns that we have of thinking about it. Now, when I hear what you're saying there about walking around in the shock and disbelief, sometimes it's better. If you've done this a while and you've molded over and you know all the facts and you hear other people's stories, you see the similarities, you've had the validation, but you're still doing it. Sometimes that is our brain being stuck in the pattern of reaction to stimuli. It's the neural pathways in your brain are going from our brains create neural pathways so we don't have to think about things. So we don't have to think, how should I react? All right. That's why it's so much harder to go, how should I react? And actually do something different. It's easier to fall into the path of least resistance, which is the one that the neural pathways have created. If your brain has been trauma bonded, you have neural pathways in your brain that when you have a trigger, go right into their instant reaction because it knows how to handle it. It's taking care of you. However, in order to get out of that, sometimes we have to change the thought pattern. That's why pattern interrupt is important and why it actually works. Because you change the thought pattern to create new neural pathways in your brain so that when I have a trigger, I do this instead. And that takes time. It takes minimally, I think 30 days minimally to create a new habit, which all that means is I'm used to doing this now and I know what to do and how to do it. I have to catch myself and I have to change it. And it takes at least 90 days to create the new neural pathways, I believe, which means at that point, it's an automatic response. Not always, but to some of the triggers. Okay, so, and some of the, not triggers, but some of the responses to things, such as when you find yourself walking around with your mouth open and in shock and shaking your head in disbelief, tell yourself, but it's true. And it's true. How about that? And it's true. I don't need to believe it. It is true. It's the truth. It's how they are. End of sentence, moving on, or, and I've thought that thought enough now, I'm done. Or, you know what? Stop, Frankendoll, you tell yourself, done thinking about this, and move on and have something else to take its place so that you're breaking the pattern of your neural pathway response. And it's not easy because you don't have the habit yet. And it'll become easier once you have the habit. And then once you create the new pathways in the brain, it becomes a no-brainer. Okay. So, and it is the conditioning that put it there is the conditioning that can get it out. That's the way you've been conditioned to have those neural pathways set in place to begin with, right? Because the narcissist repeats and repeats and repeats the same abusive patterns that create the same responses in us over and over and over again. And we get our brains we learn. Okay. I've learned to ride a bike, emo waves with musical framework. Usually during, thank you. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. These days I find myself saying, oh, shut up to that voice of theirs. Tell yourself something nicer though, Jack. Oh, you have such clever thoughts. You don't need to think of this, right? As long as it's their voice, you're casting out with harsh words. All right. So when you're on this emotional roller coaster, remember that your emotions have taken over at this point, and any thought you have is going to be led by those emotions, most likely, unless you tell yourself to think something different for a little while. So one way to calm it a little bit. Hi, Andy. I found the extreme emotions my ex brings up are from childhood experiences. Exactly. So we got to heal those things, right? And that's a whole nother reason why this emotional roller coaster takes place, is because there's a lot more to heal than just this last relationship. There's a lot of old stuff, but everybody has that in life. Everybody has bits of that in life. We are just thrown into the deep end with the healing because we've had this experience that opened us up to the pain that we're suffering. Hi, Shelley. What if you're dealing with infuriating delayed legal crap after leaving? Well, and that's a different situation because then you're actually dealing with something right in the moment that is like, what are you going to do about it? You have to face it. So I think any of the tips in here might help to calm yourself enough to think your way through it. And it's a little different than the roller coaster because it's actually happening, right? There's an actual thing that you're having to deal with. It's super triggering. It's super difficult. And a lot of us have to go through that with a narcissist for a long time. All right. Hey, Anna. You like my lipstick? Thanks. Okay. Where am I? Where am I? Did I miss some of this? You notice your hands clenched, your teeth, your tummy tight and hunched over. Right. So, okay. So along with relaxing the body and noticing the body is calming the mind and emotions. So meditations, mindfulness, can't say it enough. And I realize I repeat myself a lot, but it's because the same things help a lot of things. Okay. And so, oh, it's a happy color. So, all right. Meditation. What did I say here? Breathing and having a sense of what's going on in your body, but also the meditation itself can allow you for moments in time, even if you can only get 5 to 10 minutes in, can allow you for those 5 to 10 minutes to detach. I'm not saying avoid, and I'm not saying ignore the feelings. Detach from them a little bit on the inside so that you're not so entangled with them in that moment. And let them just be there. Picture them in cloud bubbles floating around, that they're still there. You still are going to feel them. They're still important, because we don't want to tell ourselves we're not important and push this stuff away, right? But they don't need to take the focus right now. And as you're meditating, try a guided meditation so that you have somebody's voice leading you. So it helps. Being in silence can be difficult for some people to keep the focus. I say as I'm losing my focus. Hi, Julie. Hi, Julie. I'm your greatest fan. Okay. Let's see who else. Hi, Mo Cowboy. And Shastina. That's okay if you're late. We're here. We're all here. It's all good. So what was I saying? Meditate. Meditate. Mindfulness meditations. There's a couple on this channel you can go back to if you need them. I'll try to put more on at some point. But they're all over the place, right? Finding mindfulness meditations that speak to you, that are short, can help you to give you a break and calm yourself from being so enmeshed with your own emotional state, even if it's for 5 minutes. And that does help because your nervous system responds to that, and you're learning. Like I said, with creating the new habits and the new neural pathways, your brain is learning how to calm itself down. All right. Okay. So when we are feeling the feelings of the emotional roller coaster, when we're feeling, somebody said something earlier that made me want to say this earlier. What did they say? I've been feeling extreme emotions that my ex brings up are from childhood experiences. That's important because it's not that we want to believe that these emotions are something we need to believe about ourselves that can't be fixed. It's that if we don't grieve the past a little bit once in a while, if we don't allow what we need to feel to be felt and we push it away and we push it down and the cognitive dissonance pushes it away. It tells us something else can fix it. If I just talk to them, if I could just know that they are doing terrible, then I'd feel great. If I could, we're pushing it away with those things instead of feeling, if you're feeling something all the way back from your childhood, then some inner child healing might be necessary to help you move forward and help you heal the thing that you're feeling instead of just keeping it as a terrible thing you feel in your life. Okay. And that is probably, we could do a talk on inner child. I think I've said I'll do that at some point, but I have to go to my counseling appointment. Oh, have a good one. Bye, Thriver. Oh. Okay. Anything else? Okay. You guys are chatting. All right. So feeling what needs to be felt without judgment. So how can you spot a liar? Let me answer this one and then I'll do that one. Okay. Let me finish this thought because I won't remember it. and then I'll answer you, Julie. All right. Feeling what you need to feel without judgment. A lot of times we say, I feel whatever. I feel worthless and I hate this. I just want it to go away. I just want it to go away. This is stupid. I don't want to feel this stupid feeling. Well, Unfortunately, if you don't feel what you need to feel in that moment, and then try to find ways to nurture yourself and heal it through giving yourself what you need in that moment, sometimes what you need is just sitting with it and feeling it and not naming it and not judging it. It's just being like, wow, this is a feeling I'm having, right? And let it be there and feel it. Sometimes that's the quickest way off the ride. And we're afraid to do it. We're going to lose it. We're going to lose ourselves. We're going to, but usually you have a good cry and you feel better. If you're fighting it the whole time and telling yourself all kinds of stories about it and why you shouldn't be feeling what you feel and trying to justify your way out of it, or judging yourself for it, or calling yourself stupid, or whatever it is, you're calling yourself weak, whatever, then you're not letting yourself actually feel what you need to feel. You're feeling something else instead based on the judgment, right? And then it just sticks there, and we got to keep doing it. So, okay. Julie is asking, how can you spot a liar when you know they are lying and they are in complete denial? How can you spot them? If you know they're lying, you've already spotted them. What do you mean? How to handle it? How to deal with it? If they're a narcissistic person, you realize that a narcissist will not take accountability, and that of course they're lying. Everything's a lie. Their whole personality is a lie. So you step away and you step away from them, and there's no reason to engage with it. None. There's no reason to even catch them. Really, there isn't, because they're going to keep doing it. It's not going to change anything, and it's not going to give you any satisfaction, because they're just going to gaslight you. So is that what you're asking? How to, they are lying. Maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. If I did, then what is the body language with a liar? I think it depends on the person. I'm not real clear on that, because I think it depends on the person. Often when people are lying, they are looking to the right, and they are looking hard right. I very rarely look hard right. It's hard to do, because they're fabricating a story out of thin air. When you're looking to the left, you are recalling. You're recalling something from your whatever. I'm looking over there. I'm thinking about, what was it that happened that I wanted to talk about? It's like I'm recalling from memory. When you're looking to the right, you're making it up. Looking to the right does not mean you're a liar, but liars will often do that. Looking to the right, we all look to the right to fabricate pieces in, because that's part of the creativity of conveying a story, is you have to make some up and bring in memory as well. Especially if you're talking metaphor, or you're trying to explain something to someone. But lots of blinking, says Shelley. Yeah. Avoiding eye contact, avoiding direct eye contact, not eye contact in itself. They might look you in the eye, but it's a cold, not really looking. Shifting their body away from you. I would say with a narcissist, they might turn straight at you to try and dominate the situation, so that they can just, left hand looks right though, right? Left-handed looks, this is my left, that is my right. So if you're mirroring, yes, if you're looking at someone, and it would be the opposite, correct. But that's not to say that someone looking that way is lying. It's just that is a way of, if I'm looking this way, I'm fabricating out of my imagination or something I'm creating versus something I'm remembering. So if someone's telling you, oh, I remember when, they're making it up. That's what the eye movement or the eye direction theory says. Okay. Okay. What are we asking here? All right. So other things when you are on the emotional roller coaster. We talked about that. Remember that your brain is adjusting, especially if it's under a year out from a narcissist, and even more so under 6 months, your brain is adjusting to being off the trauma bond ride. Your brain is adjusting to it. It is creating new pathways. It is creating new thoughts and beliefs about life outside of the trauma bond, and things that trigger you back into it, it will go into an immediate response the way it did. So the cognitive dissonance, people talk about that a lot, with all of a sudden they're thrown back into it. And it makes sense on that level, because that's what the brain does. How much evidence do we need? I don't know. We don't really, right? It depends. We don't need any once we understand what's happening. We don't need proof. Yeah. Narcs don't like it. Okay. If you are talking to them and you are standing up and they are sitting down, they are paranoid. That's, though they like the one up position. I can see that. All right. Okay. Remember that with your emotions on this emotional roller coaster, you don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to understand every feeling that you're having. Sometimes the feelings are overwhelming. You just feel, I don't know, I feel terrible. I don't know, I feel overwhelmed. That's okay. It's not, well, it's not okay, but you know what I mean? It's not something you then have to dissect and understand every feeling that you're having in order to process them, or you won't heal. It's not like that. You just understanding that you're overwhelmed and that you're feeling a lot of feelings right now, sometimes that's enough. Self-care, you guys, it's important. And what I mean by that is taking care of your emotional self, taking care of yourself on the inside. How are you talking to yourself? What are you telling yourself? Are you doing things? Well, we'll get here. We'll come over here to the self-care. Okay. So some self-care ideas for when you're on this emotional roller coaster. Let me read what you guys are saying here first. Julie said, my narcissist pulled my plant house off the wall and denied he had done it. It's full-on blame Julie mode, and I totally agree with what you just said. He tried to make it look like I was making it up. Yeah, there's no relating to someone that's unrelatable because they don't have empathy or accountability. How do you relate to that? You can't. You're in a relationship with yourself battling all the stuff they're throwing at you. You're not in a relationship with them. I remember one of those word salad lectures after I was well-versed in narcissistic speak. I was able to calmly listen and think to myself, that's not true. And that isn't true. And so with gray rock, if you're gray rocking it, an important thing to remember, I think, is to have a really clear understanding of what's going on. Telling yourself, not them, oh, they're totally going to learn lying. They're gaslighting. They're gaslighting me right now. You don't tell them that, because it's not going to do any good. It doesn't, them knowing what they do doesn't change what they do. It amplifies what they do. Or they go, oh, okay, and they keep doing it. Or they deny it and start projecting back onto you that you're the one doing it. So them knowing what they do, there's no point in telling them. You're gaslighting me. Don't do that. There's no accountability on their side. So what is that going to do? It's going to throw them either into angry rage or denial and then projection, or they'll just keep doing it, or it'll get worse because they'll be more covert with it. Oh, I'm sorry, says the covert, altruistic type of narcissist. And then they go on and they do it in a more subtle, covert way, so you can't even explain what's happening, and then you're confused all over again. So it doesn't do any good for them to know. Can a narcissist make you ill? Yes. The stress of narcissistic abuse can make you very ill. It can cause all kinds of sickness, pain. I went from a fibro pain level of about a 7-8 daily, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I couldn't walk to the corner from pain, to him being gone within 2 months of walking for miles and very little pain. So yes, firsthand, I can say yes, that's very true. And a lot of people talk about that, about all kinds of illnesses, chronic illnesses, autoimmune illnesses, things like that can happen from being with a toxic narcissistic person. Any toxic relationship, really. What are we saying here? When I would get off the phone. Okay, wait. Now, exactly. And now I dance too. And do I have pain? Sure. I know what triggers it. There are certain things, and then I just, deal with it. But it's nothing like it was. So not that everyone's like, get rid of the narcissist and your illness goes away. That was fortunate and took a lot of work and struggle. But yes. Okay. So ways for self-care when you are on this emotional roller coaster, what to do. Setting up positive influences in your day. You are having a terrible day. Okay. Your day is just full of emotion. You're all over the place. You're overwhelmed. So set up, if maybe you can't do anything that day, maybe that's it. It's just you're overwhelmed, now you're done. So set up for tomorrow in the night before you go to bed. Write down some affirmations that you're going to use the next day. Even if you have to go on Google and look up the word affirmations and get a list and just pick some. It doesn't really matter. What you're wanting to do is flood yourself with positive influence, not to be positive and happy all the time and pretend this isn't happening, but to counterbalance that life is just about the toxic, horrible, terrible emotional state we're in. So affirmations, do your gratitude lists at night, do them and read them again in the morning. Just do them. Even if they are silly things. If you can't think of anything, think of something silly to be grateful for, or something small, or whatever is your mode of making yourself feel better. Exercise. Get some exercise. When you're in an emotional crisis like that, when you're riding the roller coaster and it's going way too fast, your body is pumped full of adrenaline. It's pumped full of cortisol and things that are kind of make you kind of sick with too much of them. So get some exercise, move around, get out into nature, get out into the air. I know it's cold out in a lot of places, so maybe that just includes taking a little drive in nature, or maybe it's house plants, something that is natural, and be around it. Be around your pets, be around your friends, trying not to isolate when you're like this too much. I know that a lot of times we do need to just curl up. Sometimes you just got to curl up and have those days where the blankets are over your head, but you can't do that forever, and you're not going to want to do that forever. So getting back out and engaging little tiny bits so it's not overwhelming with positive people who have your back. I don't need to know what's going on. They don't even really need to be people that support you through this kind of thing, but people who support you for being who you are. They enjoy you. They lift you up. They build you up. They're not draining from you, and they're not taking from you. Okay. So another self-care to try is journaling. Journaling some of this out. Just write it out. Getting it out of you is better than holding it all in you and not talking about it. So journaling it can be useful. Journal your dreams even. You do a lot of processing when you're in these kind of states in your dreams. Write them down and look up the symbols and see what they mean, and look beyond the way the dream made you feel. If you have a dream about your ex, it doesn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes they can be really, really, had someone dream. They told me they dreamt of something and they were kind of really freaked out by this dream. And it turned out the dream, like if you looked up the symbols and you understand kind of intuitively what's going on with someone, the dream was really about them kicking the narc out of their control place in their life. It was fabulous. And it completely changed the way they saw the dream, and the processing of, oh my gosh, I am strong. I did do that. Started clicking in, all because they had this dream and they interpreted it in a way that helped them move forward. So it can be kind of fun and pretty cool to do that. And I love dreams. I love dreams. Okay. Somebody asked a question and I missed it. Can narcissistic parent make her son a passive aggressive or narcissist? Yes, a narcissistic parent can cause all kinds of emotional damage in someone. Yes, a lot of narcissistic parents can create narcissistic children. Yes, passive aggressive, sure, because they have had to cope by being passive aggressive in order to not be completely attacked by the narcissistic parent. So yes, that can happen. It can also create codependency, and it can also create attachment issues, all kinds of stuff. Okay. Yes, have the affirmations ready ahead of time. Do it before bed. If you set it up for yourself the next day, setting yourself up for it the next day is like having a friend you can just call, right? They're right there. Or text. Okay. So can the codependent parent, right? Yeah. Unhealthy relating can cause all kinds of stuff with kids, right? And journaling helped immensely, is what Frankendahl is saying. I want to get out, but I'm missing front teeth now. Won't be able to read it. Just recently had that dream thing. Aha! It was so unnerving, but when I Googled the meaning, it was uncanny how accurate it was to the situation I'm in. It's even more fun. Like, gosh, I just love dream interpret. Wish I could just dream interpret all day. I love it. Love it. All right. Especially if I know someone a little bit. Okay. I try to journal daily. Hi, get into the groove. Hello. It is cathartic. Journaling is great for some people. Some people don't enjoy it. I don't like it. Go ahead and do it, guys. I hate it. No, I don't hate it. I just don't. I do notes rather than a journal, I guess. So it's kind of similar, but it's not my thing. Mine's movement, getting it out through moving and moving my body. Okay. I would love that, Anna. You do that if you have the time. The special's still going, so if anyone needs it, it's still there. I haven't taken it down yet. Shh, go. My husband is definitely a narcissist, but what are the traits of a narcissist? I have a video. I have several videos on that. Go back Julie, go back in the on this channel. There's one on covert narcissism. If you Google my name, Lise Colucci, and covert narcissism, you'll find it. There's one on covert narcissism. There's several on red flags. There's several on narcissistic traits, but I can't remember what I called them right now, what the titles are. I'm trying to think. That's a whole hour, really, to talk about that. So go back and see. If you can't find them, let me know and I'll do another one. And I'll probably do another one anyway. Traits of a narcissist. Okay. 50 traits, a red screen image. Awesome one. Thank you, Jack. Okay. It's called 50 traits of narcissists, I guess, or narcissistic abuse or something like that. On this channel, go back and look. 50 traits. And it's got a red screen. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so more things for self-care. Think if you are in the cognitive dissonance part of it, where if you are stuck thinking, why do I want them when I don't even want them? Why am I missing them when I don't like them? They're horrible. Why am I, like when you're in that, try to, besides writing down a list of the narcissist toxic traits, toxic things they've done to you, toxic behaviors, things, the abuses that you've had. Another list to perhaps make, if you're a list liker, is the practical reasons in your life right now that you are free. What are the practical things that you experience every day that you could not experience with that toxic person in your life? That's a pretty easy list to make, even if your life is not going the way you want it right now. Just not having that toxic person around, there are freedoms. You can think what you want to think. You can say what you want to say. Do I have 50 symptoms of narcissistic abuse? 50. Could probably do it. Let's do it. Oh, if you do me a favor, please, Mocaway, that's a good one. Can you message me it privately so I don't forget? Because it's where the brain is today, the memory. I'm like, okay, gotta have a cheat sheet here. So other self-care. What would they destroy? What couldn't you do? What if they were in your life? Exactly. Even little tiny things. How do you cope when the narcissist is spewing hateful stuff towards you? How do you shut down? Gray rock doesn't always work. Gray rock isn't meant to make you okay. Gray rock is meant to diffuse the situation so that it minimizes the amount of abuse that's coming towards you. Internally gray rocking, internally understanding, I know the truth. It doesn't matter what they say. They're going to spin their wheels in their narcissistic way and do exactly what they always do. There they go. Look at them projecting, is what you're thinking to yourself. The most important thing to think to yourself is, I know the truth. It doesn't matter what they say. You create indifference. Gray rocking hopefully helps you create indifference. You're not doing it to be mean. You're not doing it to battle. You're not doing it to win. What you're doing is creating breaking the bond, breaking the tie that you have to the belief about what they're saying. When you engage in anything, your emotions go with you. You can't stay engaged. You can't have a conversation with any person without your emotions going with you at some point if there's an engaging discussion happening. Narcissistic abuse, narcissistic gaslighting and projecting and all is meant to engage you. It's meant to pull you away from what you're thinking into exactly where they want you so that they can manipulate the situation, completely twist it around and get away with something. It's all about them getting away with whatever they want to get away with and not taking accountability. That's the whole point of it. They maybe aren't doing it to hurt you, right? They're hurting you through doing it, but maybe, like some people say, I can't believe that would be intentional. It is intentional. It maybe isn't intentional to attack. It's intentional to self-protect so that they don't have to be accountable, so that they don't have to answer to anything, so that their little delusional world can maintain its position in their brain as it being something real. So there isn't a way to be with a narcissist and be happy. Let's put it that way, Julie. I don't know of one. It's creating your own life, doing all the self-care you can until you can get out. Understanding that you matter, getting into therapy, coaching if you need it, things like that to help you move toward getting free. It isn't really something you can manage and become happy in because they don't relate in a healthy way and they never will. That's the problem. And so, unfortunately, that's what I have to say on that. Okay. My narcissistic sister kept abusing me in my mind. I kept saying, but she's my sister, my best friend. Cognitive dissonance, correct. I know. It's hard with family. It really is. I'm supposed to be her friend. She's my sister. Right? Okay. Robin says, yes, stepping outside and looking in, even though I have terrible days, I do realize my life is much more peaceful now. Remembering that makes my bad days easier. Know thyself. That's right, Anna. Okay. I actually forgave him for the plant house incident, but I added, I will not forgive you if you do it again. Here go my dogs, because the mailman's here. Hey, guys. Hey, guys, you don't need to bark at the mailman. No, why don't you come join me here? Ruby, come here instead. Come here. Come here instead. Come here. Come here. Ruby, come say hi. Ruby, come say hi. Come say hi. Say hi. Come on, Ruby. Up. There's Ruby. Okay. All right. Okay. It's a little distraction there, but it's better than the barking. All right. Okay. I will not forgive you if you do it again. You are a really nice person. You said that to him? That he's a nice person? It's not, it's playing into it, right? It's how long do you want to play the game, Julie? That's the question you ask yourself. How long do I want? Okay, here's Bill Murray. Woohoo, Bill Murray, because Bill Murray is here to say it's Groundhog's Day when you're with a narcissist. You're just repeating and repeating, repeating and repeating and repeating. It's yeah. And eventually we see that there isn't an answer except to not be with them. Okay. That was good pattern interrupt, wasn't it? Diversion and a little pattern interrupt and no barking. Now watch, they'll bark. Okay. No, you are a nice person, not him. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. You are a nice person. You, Julie. Okay. Got it. Groundhog Groundhog's Day is exactly what a narcissist is all about. Okay, so let's keep going with self-care. Talking, crying, venting. When we're in these emotional roller coasters, have someone to talk to. It is one of the reasons that the coaching groups are ongoing and that they form groups rather than someone coming in for a week or two. That's why it's by month instead of drop in. You can do drop in if it's what's needed and it's what you can afford and what you can do it if you want to do it. But it's why there is a group available, because it's a place to talk, to cry, to vent, to people who understand and people who can relate, and to have someone there that is offering minimally and anchoring support in a coaching way. Obviously I can't be there for every conversation that goes on in chat, but I try. Okay. No, it's not Einstein. It's Bill Murray. Better. All right. Hey, come here, you. Now they're all worked up because the mailman has come and gone. All right. So we're going to finish this up real quick here. We're already at almost an hour anyway. Isn't he great? I know. I love him. Okay. All right. What are we saying here? Groundhog's Day. Get it now. See? Okay. All right. Okay. Be easy on yourself. When you're on these emotional roller coasters, be easy on yourself. Don't judge your emotions. Don't judge the fact that you're down again, that this is never going to end. This is going to end. Okay. It's moving through it. And, it's normal. It's normal for healing from abuse to have this happen. So understand that. Talking about it, venting, having someone to talk to, all of that is helpful. Be easy on yourself, be gentle on yourself, and learn how to nurture yourself. Use this experience to learn how to figure out what it is you need. Whenever people say, I'm having a horrible day, Lise, I'm having a horrible day, this is awful, these emotions are coming out, the very first thing I ask every single time is, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? You personally, what do you need? Right? I don't know what you need. What do you know what you need? You may not know in the moment, but you can seek that and learn to nurture yourself and give to yourself in those times, because you are your number one go-to resource to begin with, right? We have to have our own backs. If we're being judgmental or being harsh with ourselves, we're not aiding in our healing. We're actually participating in the abuse toward ourselves. So what do you need to be gentle and to be calm and to be nurturing with yourself? I know, Ruby. Okay. Hey, we are almost at Groundhog's Day too. That was good timing. That's right. All right. I think I should wear the shirt on that day too, don't you? Okay. Better get it in the wash because that's like 2 days from now. All right. So what are we saying? Okay. All right. Remember, I said this before, but I'll say it again. Remember that your feelings pass and don't judge them. They are like clouds, right? They float around and you can imagine them like clouds passing by if you need to. Feelings pass. You can have an emotion 1 minute and another emotion another minute if something is strong enough of a pull to pull you into an emotional state. That's why gray rock is important, because they're trying to pull you into a new emotional state through their projecting and their gaslighting and all of the word salads and all the stuff they're doing. So if you stay indifferent, it isn't allowing yourself to go into that emotional state. We don't want to be indifferent to ourselves. When we're on the emotional roller coaster, we want to be able to feel what we need to feel, but at the same time, remember that it will pass. Okay. Especially if you've been having a lot of good days and then you have a bad week. That happens. I think it's natural for everyone to go through that. Everyone in life to go through it, have bad days and bad weeks where you're just super emotional. It feels really scary to us because we feel like we're slipping back down, five steps back, as somebody said, right? It's not. It's just another level of healing. It's another place to heal. Maybe it's another part of you that needs the healing. I don't know. Sleep, you guys, number one thing. If you are sleep deprived, it's really hard to feel emotionally grounded for anybody. So get some sleep. If it's difficult to sleep, try to figure out ways to help your sleep. Meditate before you sleep. Let yourself fall asleep meditating. Put something on, and there's all kinds of, and I'm saying this is a person that doesn't sleep well. So again, I don't journal and I don't sleep, but do it. Don't listen to me that what I do, because that part I need to work on. Okay. This is the last one I have. The last little tidbit for what to do for self-care. You guys set an alarm and take a break from it. Take a break. You got to have a break. The meditation is a break. Taking a walk is a break. Getting out and being active. Set an alarm and busy yourself for 10 minutes. And you can do it if you can't do it for 10, do it for 5. Get your mind off of the feelings. Stop analyzing the feelings. Stop thinking about the feelings for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can stretch it to. Actually set an actual alarm and do it. And if you don't take those breaks, you're burning yourself out. Okay. You can't do anything marathon style all the time. So take a break on purpose when you're on these emotional roller coaster days. Put on some comedy, do something. Put on some music and scrub your kitchen, whatever. Just do something that's completely consuming, even if it means you are ignoring it. You're ignoring what you're thinking and feeling for 10 minutes. It's important, like, to calm down and not be just in that constant state of emotional overwhelm. All right, you guys, I think that's it for today. If anyone has anything they would like to talk about, you can message me in a comment of any video, and I will try to get to the topic that you have or answer you right there. Anything else? Sleep deprived can lead to sleep depraved. That's really a good way to put it. Been there way too often. It sure can. Or just downright wacky. Okay, but usually not too emotionally grounded, right? Everybody, could we have a group goal to go to bed by 10 p.m. at least one night this week coming, perhaps? 10's too early for me. 10:30? I'll do 10:30. I'll split the difference between 10 and 11. 10:30? Okay. Okay, you guys. I'll see you next week. You take care. If you need coaching help or group coaching, you're interested in that, please see the main description of every video, the main part right down below, the big thing that scrolls. I'm on there. You can find links to all of it. If there's something missing, like you want the trauma bond group and it's not there, just email me and I will get you the info. It's the same cost as the other. There's $60 a month, which is $15 a week. If you need to do weekly, you can email me as well, and I can help you with that. But if you need the support, it's there. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And if you've not subscribed, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, all the good stuff. If you want texting notification, again, it's 33222. And then put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE. Hit send, and I will be texting you 10 minutes prior to being live every time, about 10 minutes. That's what I aim for. All right. Okay. You guys have a great weekend. It's important to remember we are not our emotions. That's right. Okay. All right, you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take good care. Bye-bye.